The music was loud, but her laughter cut through it, sharper than any violin string. I stood by the edge of the hall, a glass in my hand I hadn't touched for over an hour, and watched her move. Not with me, with him. His hand lingered too long at her waist. Her head tilted too far back when she laughed. Every sway of her dress, every flick of her hair, seemed rehearsed for his eyes alone. I could feel people's gazes shift toward me, quick and then away again, like I was a shadow in the wrong corner of a painting. Then it happened. A woman at our table leaned toward her, voice half shouted above the music, "Wait, aren't you married?" My wife's smile didn't falter. She twirled, pressed closer to him, and said it without hesitation. "Not really. Doesn't count when he's boring." Laughter erupted, soft, sharp, muffled, like knives covered in velvet. And I just stood there. Not a word, not a move. Inside, something went cold. By the time the night ended, I was invisible. When the lights dimmed and the hall emptied, I was no longer a husband. I was a prop she hadn't needed. And she didn't notice that I'd already begun rewriting the script. The next morning, sunlight cut across the sheets. Her side of the bed was tangled, restless. She groaned, rolled over, reached out, and found nothing. Because I wasn't there. I sat in the kitchen, watching the black surface of untouched coffee. My phone rested beside it. The echoes of last night replayed on loop. Her laugh, his hands, that single line, "Not really." It wasn't just betrayal, it was erasure. She had erased me with a smile and a joke. I should have raged, slammed a fist, shouted, demanded, broken. But rage is wasteful. Rage burns fast. I chose silence. I remembered the coworker's name, the company dinners she claimed to attend, the late returns she brushed off with casual excuses. Details, like seeds, already buried. I only had to water them. When she stumbled into the kitchen, hair messy, eyes heavy with sleep, she smiled faintly, as if last night hadn't existed. "Morning," she whispered. I just nodded. No accusation, no warmth. Because silence unsettles more than fury. And I had already begun listening more carefully than she realized. The days that followed were deliberate. I became a mirror, still, reflective, unreadable. She joked. I smiled faintly. She touched me. I didn't pull away, but I didn't lean in either. She filled the silence with chatter, nervous, like a woman suddenly unsure of her lines. Meanwhile, I watched. Every notification on her phone, the way she turned the screen down on the table, the sudden bathroom breaks during dinner. At work, I called a friend, someone in IT, someone who owed me a favor. Phone records, call durations, locations. The puzzle assembled itself piece by piece. Midnight calls, weekends she claimed were girls' nights, numbers saved under false names. She thought she was clever. But clever people don't prepare for someone who doesn't fight back immediately. One night while she slept, I unlocked her phone. Her password hadn't changed in years. I scrolled through threads hidden deep in her messaging apps. Pictures, words, things too intimate, too casual, too damning. The betrayal wasn't physical alone, it was complete, emotional, intentional. I didn't wake her, didn't scream. I just sat in the dark, watching her breathe. And I realized she thought she had power because she had secrecy. But power shifts the moment truth changes hands, and now it was mine. The evidence arrived like a sealed confession, a full record, dates, messages, photos, no rumors, no suspicions, proof. I printed them one by one and placed them in a plain envelope. That evening, she returned home humming, as if life were still light and easy. She placed her bag down, kicked off her shoes, and kissed my cheek without thought. I handed her the envelope. She frowned. "What's this?" I didn't answer. She opened it, her fingers trembling as each page slipped free. Her breath caught. The color drained. Her lips parted as if to speak, but no sound came. Finally, How? I stayed silent, calm. Watching her crumble was enough. Tears welled. She tried to reach for me, but I leaned back, out of reach. She had expected anger, maybe violence, something she could fight against. But what she met instead was emptiness. And emptiness is something no one knows how to battle. She begged. Her words broke against me like waves against stone. It meant nothing. I was confused. I love you, not him. Each excuse smaller than the last. Waited until the silence swallowed her sobs. Then I spoke. You said I don't count. Her head jerked up, eyes wide. Those were her words, stripped of laughter now, returned like a mirror she couldn't escape. I rose, took my coat, and walked past her. She reached for me, but her hands closed on nothing. At the door, I paused, turned just enough to see her, collapsed on the couch, clutching the papers, her face buried in the proof she had written herself. That was the revenge. Not shouting, not slamming, but leaving her alone with her own truth. The night air was sharp, clean. My steps echoed on the empty street. Behind me, a house full of silence. Inside, a woman realizing she had destroyed the only person who never raised his voice. I didn't feel pity, I didn't feel sorrow, just release. Marriage, I understood now, isn't broken by betrayal, it's broken by indifference. And hers had been loud, public, mocking. Mine was quiet, final. I kept walking, and as the streetlights thinned, I knew one thing with clarity. She would wake tomorrow, still married. But I was already gone.